Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Gamertag Radio.
Welcome to Gamertag Radio. This is a brand new episode here, and I know last episode we talked about a Nintendo Switch 2 hands-on impressions, but on this episode we have a South of Midnight review that's coming up later in the podcast. Make sure to tune in the audio version of the podcast. But we're going to continue the discussion about Nintendo Switch 2. And joining me now this episode, we have Parris Lilly. What's up, Parris?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, man. See, now you're nice. When we're like start the show, now you're nice. But it's the pre-show. People saw that you're mean to me.
Well, you know, I had someone say that I'm not the same person in public that I am private. So people got a sneak peek of what I'm like privately. I'm mean.
The real Parris. Yeah, Parris. Like I know it's been couple days since the direct, hands-on impressions from a lot of people. Are you still excited for the new console? Any changes when it comes to the opinions or anything you've been thinking about like the past couple days? Because I have a couple things in my head still.
Yes and no. And I'm going to put it this way. I am excited for, like, I've watched, like, obviously your content, what Kind of Funny put out, all their opinions. I looked at some other, you know, YouTube, Nintendo content creators, you know, their YouTube channels. I watched some of the Treehouse stuff that Nintendo put out as well. So I've seen a lot of the games in action, you know, heard from, you know, different perspectives and all that. So I am excited for the Switch 2. The hardware itself, Mario Kart looks really fun. Interesting enough, I'm not vibing with Donkey Kong as much as I was hoping that I would from the gameplay that I saw. Metroid Prime 4 looks great. You know, it shows Cyberpunk, Hades 2, stuff like that. Game wise, I'm good, bro. It's the prices. I mean, I can't stress that enough. Look, $450 for the Switch 2, I'm fine with. It's a little more than I thought it would be, but it's not crazy. It's not unreasonable. But when we start talking about $80 for Mario Kart and all that, I just think it sets such a bad precedent moving forward. And I've seen all different people defending it, like all across the gambit. Bottom line, I am a consumer. I want to save money. I don't want to spend more money than I don't have to. I will always say that. There's no defense against that, in my opinion. So to see prices being raised concerns me. Is Mario Kart World probably worth $80? I'm sure you can make that argument. I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic game, the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But when I just think about other games also being priced at that, it just, what it's going to do, in my personal opinion, is going to make people more hesitant to just run out and go buy a game. You're going to definitely be way more picky about what you purchase the more these prices go up. That is my concern with this. And the nickel and diming that Nintendo is doing with a lot of the different things, the Switch 2 upgrades, the voice chat you eventually got to pay for. It's like, man, as much as I love Nintendo, as much as I love Nintendo games, they're the GOAT. We've obviously talked about this a million times. I am disappointed to see this entry for their next generation of gaming be presented this way. Whereas I just can't be excited about it. I have to also just think about the pricing of it. Look, I'm an adult. I get it. I can obviously pay for it. I'm sure I will. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have that concern. And that would probably be my two different thoughts on the Switch 2 from what we know so far.
Yeah, the part where I'm confused about the whole thing is I don't mind the price of the hardware. Like that's a given. I think we were always saying either 400 or 450. I think that a lot of people were saying that, and you're right. It's all about the games. Look, I was at the event, and we all got to watch the direct, and we were expecting like, okay, they're gonna announce the date and the price, and they didn't. And we were looking at each other like, why Nintendo didn't announce the price, at the event. So we were in the area where we have to like go downstairs. This was like a room. It's like a theater room that we were in. We had to go downstairs and then go to the main area where hands-on that was happening, everything. They were sending everybody per group. My group was the last one. So by the time I got to the hands-on area, that's when we found out, wait a minute, the device is 450, bundle 500. We had no idea until after. That was a little confusing, right? Then while we were there playing the games, that's when we found out also about the prices, because I believe in the press release there was no prices there. It was more word of mouth, people online that they saw it somewhere, and they saw, oh my God, it's this price, right? Now seeing the price of like the first party games, some 70, some 80, but then it's mixed when it comes to third party. And I get it. Some of those games are old. Like for example, Cyberpunk is 70, but there's other games that you could get for like $59.99 or less, right? It all depends on the publisher. They're going to release the games on Nintendo Switch. Like for example, do you think Xbox are going to charge $70 for their games on the Switch? I don't know. If they ever announce a games for the Switch 2. It's I feel like it's confusing. Now, I do think that Nintendo should be open about this conversation and just talk about it. I think if you talk about it and communicate that with the consumers, I think it will be a lot easier. But the more that you stay quiet, which they're known for years, they've always been like this. Like for example, like the specs, they never talk about specs. They give you like the basic and keep it moving, right? Like for example, Nvidia is involved with it, right? Like they have the Nvidia chip. There was people that asked questions about that chip and working with Nvidia. They didn't say anything. The only thing that they said was, oh, Nvidia will talk about it more in the future. That's the only thing that they said. They need to stop this whole keeping everything as a secret and start having communication with the consumers. It will be a lot easier. People might not agree or disagree with, agree and disagree with everything, but at least we're having a conversation. Keeping everything as a secret, it make things worse. Like right now, they delayed the pre-order for the Nintendo Switch 2. What's going to happen? Are we going to, in the United States, is it going to get price increase? Are they making any changes? Like, what was the main reason for them to do that? Yes, they're mentioning about the tariffs, but tell us, talk to us.
I give them a pass for that one because this is the tariff stuff is just chaos. So
but I'm talking. But I'm talking about more of talking to the consumers, because right now there's like opinions all over the place.
But they probably don't know themselves. You know what I mean? So this is what I mean. That one, I'm whatever. I'm not upset that they're not openly communicating, other than the fact that we got to reevaluate because of tariffs. So that's reasonable. I understand that.
Yeah. It's just that part is very frustrating. I'm thankful that they invited us to the event and we got hands on. But at the same time, I'm like, yo, I got to make some changes, man. This whole secretive thing is too much. It's making it worse. I mean, for example, you watch the Treehouse. I know you watched the stream.
Yeah, bro, I watched some. I watched bits
people
and pieces.
People were just saying, drop the price the whole time in the stream. Mm-hmm. Too much, And I think the majority of people are mad about the price of the physical games. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. And I know there was some confusion about, is it like, I guess it's not 90, it's depending on the region, because I know people are running with it's going to be $90 for physical games. Obviously, there's the game key card things as well, which really isn't all the game on the physical disc. It's like you still have to download it, but like the physical card is almost like your DRM check, to be able to play the game. So there's a lot. Look, we've joked many times over the years about, look, Nintendo is Nintendo. They're going to do whatever they want. They're going to make you buy their games, 5 times, and we're just going to suck it up and do it. This is one of those scenarios where they're literally testing that theory with their consumers, that people will just go run out because it is Nintendo, because they have just the brand loyalty, the legacy with their IPs, that you're just going to run out and go buy this stuff. We'll see, man. Look, we're obviously content creators. It damn near is a part of our job that, of course, we need to go get the Switch 2, the games, all that stuff. Like I said, I know I'm going to get a day one regardless, just so we can obviously talk about it and experience these games. But I always try to look at this stuff from the average consumer standpoint. Look, first of all, at $450, like we said, we understand, and you've held it already, but and have experienced it, but from everybody that I've seen, they go, look, Switch 2 is premium. The hardware, it's a premium product. Like, it doesn't feel like some cheap toy in your hand. So again, I'm not upset about $450. But like I said, you start looking at the prices of these games, man. And because it is Nintendo, it's supposed to be the more consumer, family friendly brand. And you're now raising prices on this stuff in this current economy, all the uncertainty and chaos that's going on. I mean, I put it this way. Mm-hmm. I will not be surprised if Switch 2 is not as successful as Switch 1 because it's a more expensive product. Bottom line. I mean, you have to think of it this way. When Switch came out, it was $299. So this is $150 increase over the original. All those Switches that are out there, all these families still got them. So they ain't necessarily running out to go get a Switch 2 day one. Anyways, you're raising the price on a game like Mario Kart. Look, I expect Mario Kart to do fantastic, but I put it this way. I don't think Mario Kart World at $80 will be as huge of a success as Mario Kart 8 was. I don't, because of that price. We got to be realistic about this. We can celebrate what the game's going to be because we know the game's going to be good. Mm-hmm. We're going to like it. We're going to love it. But when the sales come out, I don't think it will be as huge as it would have been if, let's say, this was a $60 game at launch, even if it's maybe $70 and people are, $10. That goes a long way in a household, especially when you got 3 kids that all want it. So now you got to spend, what is that? Bad math, freaking $240.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. You know, I was talking to my cousin. Like she doesn't watch no gaming news or videos or anything. You know, her son watch the Nintendo YouTube channel, like that type. Like that's it. They just watch that. Mm-hmm. They are excited to pre-order this system. I think they're going to get the bundle. And I think the majority of people are going to get the bundle.
Yeah, because the bundle's a bargain. Yeah, you save money.
You save money. But I wouldn't say that this won't be like as successful as the original. This one might happen. And this reminds me of like the 3DS years ago when it came out. It came out, the handheld device was expensive. And because of the sales, Nintendo decided to, like, you know what? Let's lower the price. As soon as they lowered the price, that thing sold like crazy. So that also could happen too, you know? So I know there was one person, and I can't remember who it was, they're comparing this to like Xbox One. I wouldn't go that road at all because this is Nintendo. This is Nintendo though. This is not no TV. Like, you know, it's different. Me personally, I think having it, you know, connect as a bundle and all that stuff, that makes sense. Like,
can I say
that
this?
part? Oh my God! Don't tell me you agree too.
Can I? Hey, I mean, people follow me. I may or may not have been in Seattle the past few days, so you know you can fill in the blanks from there. But some of the conversations I might have been having was like, "Wow, felt like deja vu." Heard that a lot. I will just say that. So, yeah, is this as extreme as the Xbox One? No, but a lot of the things that Nintendo is doing with Switch 2 is very similar to what Microsoft tried to do in 2013. Now, I do think Nintendo's messaging is a lot better, and obviously it shows that Microsoft was clearly way ahead of their time trying to do this. But no, I think there's a lot of similarities to the Xbox One launch. I really do.
You really think they have a better messaging, Nintendo? I don't think so.
I think it's more clear about how they're trying to, you're sharing games and the virtual thing and the game key cards and all that. Bro, we want to go back to 2013. That was
all over the place.
Yeah, that was all over the place. Yeah.
That was all over the place. By the way, we're going to play an audio here. Shout out to King. He's always calling us over here, man. And look, you guys could also call us on our fan mail hotline, 786-273-7GTR. That's 786-273-7GTR. I'm going to look for it.
Fan mail at gamertagradio.com.
What's going on, Gamer Tag Radio? How are you good brothers doing? This is Keon calling from Baltimore. Man, oh man, Nintendo. Wow, they really, yeah, those guys swung for the fences this time, didn't they? I wanted to ask you guys, do you think that the Switch 2 will be just as successful as the first Switch? I would say, in my opinion, absolutely not. I get it, $450 to $500. Some people could justify that because it is a handheld, and certain handhelds on the market don't have those same specs for that amount of money. But the thing is with Nintendo, they've always been the type of company that they always price their things accordingly. And $90 games as well. I just don't see this being as big of a success as the original Switch. I think that it might not be a failure, but I see it selling half the amount of numbers that the Switch was actually able to move. But I would love to get you guys' opinion on this. As always, you guys are awesome, and you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.
Hey, shout out to Keon. Half? I wouldn't go that.
No, I wouldn't say half, but I don't think he's wrong. What Keon was saying, that's pretty much what I was just saying as well. It will be successful. This will not be a Wii U situation. I don't think anybody's thinking that, but it's more expensive. If it costs more, you can't expect to have the same exact success. It's as simple as that. As far as I see it, it costs a lot more to get a Switch 2 than it did to get the original Switch.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I have another quote here from one of our viewers on YouTube, actually. So I'm excited for the Switch 2, but I'm waiting until post-launch to buy it.
Well, the scalpers probably agree with you on that one. You're going to be waiting to get it post-launch.
No, do you think it's going to be that bad? I think it's going to be like a PlayStation situation where I think it was PlayStation 5 Pro. You're going to find it everywhere. It wasn't like hard to find. I don't think it's going to be hard.
I think if you don't pre-order it, I don't think you get one on launch day.
No, that part for the first batch, yes. But so I think after a while,
I do think you'll be waiting into the summer, into the holiday to be able to get one. Like, I don't think you're gonna be able to just walk into Best Buy to get one until probably 2026.
Yeah. We'll see. But another thing you brought up, Parris, earlier about Donkey Kong, and I know I mentioned about this. Look, I got to play it. It wasn't bad. It was just more like I was expecting more. And I think my theory is I think it was just the demo that they had wasn't for me. I think once they release the full game, I will enjoy it because there's more things to do. I felt like it was like a quick demo. It wasn't enough content for me to be like, yo, I'm excited. Like Mario Kart World, there was multiple things to do in there. And every time you launch a race, it was randomly select a new level. You know, like there was a lot of characters there. Plus they had the Battle Royale type mode in there too, where 24 players you play there online. Like there were things to do, but Donkey Kong wasn't there for me. Metro Prime 4, woof, yo, amazing. A lot of content, got me excited. Again, I think it's the demo, so we'll see. And I hope you get opportunity to try it out in the future. We'll see, but I'm curious.
I just might. We'll see. But to your point about Donkey Kong, yeah, I'm obviously just going off of what I saw on Treehouse, and it just, I get it. Everything's destructible, you know, Donkey Kong Punch and all that. But maybe you're right. Maybe it's just the vertical slice that we got to saw. It just, like I said, I didn't think it was terrible, but it didn't have. Put it this way: watching Mario Kart, I'm like day one. Donkey Kong, I'm like, yeah, I could wait. You know, it wasn't
right?
Yeah. Now, unofficially, it sounds like the Mario team made this. Unofficially, they won't confirm it yet. So
why? That's another thing too. Why they kept that a secret? Just say it. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I mean, there's a lot again, man. Oh my God, Nintendo, you gotta talk, man. You gotta talk now. And I know I brought this up during our conversation last week during the hands-on impressions episode, right? And I'm going to bring it up to you, Parris, because I'm just curious. Do you think this was a missed opportunity for Xbox not to show something, even if it's not the official gameplay, at least the logo of the game, like coming out soon? We had Phil on the show. He said that they're going to support.
I can't answer that. You know I can't answer that, so don't ask me that. I have no comment.
All right, I can answer that. I will say, I think it was a missed opportunity. I don't know. That was just my opinion. But hey, we'll see in the future. But that could have been a great conversation. You know, seeing some announcements there. That's all. Have Phil on stage. You know, it's me. That's just me. All right. So, anything else, Parris? Anything else from the Nintendo Switch discussion?
I feel like we had a more negative conversation talking about it here. I am excited for Switch 2. Like I said, just from what I've seen, it is definitely something that I want to own. I want to have. I think from a technical standpoint, performance standpoint, it looks very impressive, right? And Mario Kart World is a day one for me. Metroid Prime 4 is a day one for me. I look at like, I will absolutely love having Hades 2 on that thing to take it on the go with me. I want it day one, of course. I'm that Nintendo fan. I'm a day oneer, so I'm always there for it. To your point, I just do wish they were a little more open with their communication, but I give them a little bit of grace because we're in chaotic times with a lot of this stuff. So I think the pricing, all that potentially is in flux. I don't think we'll see a price drop, regardless of what consumers may be saying online. I do think it'll be $450. I do think Mario Kart will be $80. I think regardless of the tariffs, I don't see them, unless it's just extreme, I don't see them raising the price. I don't think it'll be above $450. I think they'll leave it where it is regardless of the tariffs, just because that's just going to make it 20 times worse, you know, passing that along to the consumer. So this is probably why they're like, look, we're going to hold off for pre-orders right now. I'm sure there's a lot of negotiations that are happening in the background that we don't know about. But I think ultimately it will come out on June 5th at $450 in the United States. And, you know, hey, like I said, I'll be getting it day one. And I will say this other thing. What is it? Dust Blood, right? Basically the From Software game, right? That's going to be on there. I don't like that it's exclusive to the platform. And I've said this a million times. I don't like timed exclusives. I don't like third-party exclusives. I don't care what the platform is. Look, Nintendo games, of course, they're going to be exclusive to it, just like I would expect PlayStation or anyone else. If you make the game and you decide to make it exclusive to your platform, you own it, of course. Third-party ones I don't like. So seeing that they got a game that, at least as far as we know, is exclusive to Switch 2, I would imagine it's probably timed. It'll come to other platforms eventually. Not a fan of that, and I'll just leave it at that.
All right, it's cool. I think Nintendo funded that. It's like Bayonetta years ago. No other company were putting the money down for that. So if there was no money, the game wouldn't exist. So I know originally they were working on this for the original Switch platform, but Nintendo was like, hey, let's push it for Switch 2. So I get it. But I think From Software are going to publish it only in Japan, and Nintendo is going to do it worldwide. That's what I read online. So, and I get it. Different times. No more exclusives.
Yes.
Different time. But hey, people are either curious or excited to try this out. I mean, it's From Software, so
yeah.
You know, yeah. Damn, I know it was going to be, there was something else besides that. I'm not going to lie. I'm excited to try out Cyberpunk 2077 again on this, man. It was pretty good playing on the Switch. And one thing that I heard after I left the event, it was a 7-week build.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. And I think Yakuza also was Yakuza 0 Director Cut also was a 7-week build. So it looks like developing games on the device is going to be a lot quicker, a lot faster. You know, porting games too. So
yeah, I was going to say, yeah, you got to be specific on it. Porting, do it.
Porting.
Yeah.
Porting, not developing. Yeah.
Now, the one thing that did come out of that, because I guess what was playable was the performance mode, and that is locked at 40 frames per second. So, you know, some people weren't necessarily excited about that, but you also got to remember it is a 120 hertz screen. Obviously, when it's docked, it's at 4K. So if you have a TV that is 120 hertz VRR playing at 40 frames, and we've talked about this in the past as well, it's a pretty good experience. Is it 60? No, but you know, you can get all nitpicky on it. It's a very smooth, playable experience. So, I mean, we'll see. Because you played it.
Yeah.
when you went there. Yeah. So
Yeah, it was
you
smooth.
would know better than me.
It was smooth. Yeah. I think I gotta watch to see what Digital Foundry has to say about it, because I haven't watched anything about it.
Yeah. Now I heard, which again, this is why it's next gen only on PlayStation and Xbox. The Phantom, like if you go to the Phantom Liberty part of the game, frame rate was on struggle bus. But again, they've only had 7 weeks. It isn't a final build. We'll see what it is at launch. But that's kind of the real test of it being on Switch 2, is when you're playing the Phantom Liberty portions of it. So, I mean, like I said, we'll see. And I'm impressed with the hardware of what it is. And I was watching a video where they were showing, from a size comparison, they had the Switch OLED with comparison to the Switch 2. Like, if you put them side by side, it is definitely bigger. And I'm excited about that as well, to see it from a size standpoint. So I'm looking forward to it. And you've already talked about, even though it's not OLED, the LCD screen looks really good on it. So we'll see.
Even there's a picture of me holding, I wish I could have it here, but there's a picture of me holding the device. Actually, let me upload it real quick so I want to show you guys something here. I think I can post it here. It's so good. But yeah, like, what I'm holding the device, and it's me. I think I was playing Mario Kart World, and it was like far, and you can still see the image. Like, it's so clear compared to like the first Switch. Man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited to get this at home, man. Now, one last thing, Paris. I know there was people comparing the Steam Deck and this. I think they both have their place in gaming. For me, Steam Deck is good, play games on the go, all my games that I have on Steam, etc. Right? But the thing that I'm going to be very happy to play on the Switch, one, is the exclusive, right? And also, I don't have to go and just deal with the settings and find the right settings. I don't want to deal with that. I just want to like pick up and play and just go. That's the only negative thing about the Steam Deck. That I have to like find the perfect set. No, you get what I'm saying, right? I have to find the perfect settings. Like, sometimes I don't have the time for that, man. I just want to play games, man. What? It is the truth.
I didn't say nothing. I'm just
so when you give me that look, what
look? What are you talking about?
You're like, but like Cyberpunk, I'm just gonna pick up and play. I only have 2 options: performance mode or quality mode on some of these games.
Well, you do know on the Steam Deck for Cyberpunk they have a Steam.
Oh yeah, I know.
Deck specific profile, so you just pick that. So you're complaining.
Paris, I'm just saying some of the games, like for example, I played Final Fantasy VII. Was it remake or rebirth? Both of them, right?
That's your first problem.
I had to.
Go ahead.
Oh my god, I have to like find the right settings for this. I know you can have like a default setting, but some of these games that you launch on the Steam Deck is not gonna be perfect for that setting. So that's the only thing. Even if it says Steam Deck verified, it's still pain in the ass, man. That's all. And the most important thing, they don't have exclusives. Nintendo has the exclusives. So that's, just that. Anything else?
No, I mean, like I guess what the Mario Kart World Direct is coming in a couple weeks, so looking forward to that. We'll obviously see whenever they reopen these pre-orders. Hopefully everything just stays the same. Fingers crossed I'm actually able to pre-order one, so we'll see about that. But I mean, hey, it's Nintendo. It's a new Nintendo product, so people are always going to be excited for that.
I have one question.
Yeah.
If Nintendo decides to lower the price of the games, $60, Paris, are you serious?
No,
it's better than 80. It's better than 80.
I love how. Wait a minute. What are you asking me? I don't.
The price.
Yeah.
If they had, is that a good price to start?
Well, of course it is. I thought you were saying.
You're like,
you were asking. No, I thought you were asking me would they do it, and I'm like, there's no way in hell they're not doing that.
What I'm saying is, if there's an opportunity for Nintendo, like, you know what, we don't have issues with the hardware price. It's the games. Let's lower it. Let's lower it a little bit. Let's go with $60. That's all. And I know you said something about Nintendo Switch Online. That you said something, the nickel and diamond. Bro, it's $20. What's the problem with $20 a year? And you get all those games, GameCube and all these other.
That's not what I said.
What is it that you
That's
said?
literally not what I said. I love
So what
how
you
you
were
don't,
saying?
you don't listen to me. I said that you're going to have to pay for voice chat.
Yes.
That's
You
nickel
paid-
and diming.
Parris, $20 minimum. Minimum. We have the service. You've been paying $20 for years on the Switch. What's the
Actually, I have
problem?
not. Actually, I have not, by the way.
Oh, you're cheap. You're cheap.
Yeah, I have not. And see, you're part of the problem. You are part of the problem.
How
it's just $20. Oh, just paid it. F that. I'm a consumer. I'm trying to save money. I don't care. Don't nickel and dime me for crap I should get for free. No.
You know what?
No.
I know it's a problem. I'm going to show everybody. I'm going to show everybody. I'm going to show everybody. This is the real reason.
Oh my God.
Parris where is it? Where's the share? Look, guys. You see this image right here of Parris? This is Parris right here. When he buys me the Nintendo Switch 2, he's gonna be cutting this bread.
I love how you actually went to the event, got hands on with it, but I'm buying you one. You should be buying me one.
Why?
Because you're probably going to review it, not me.
First of all, it's not even guaranteed that I'm gonna review it, bro. So look, let me tell you this. If I was 100% sure, I wouldn't pre-order. I'm pre-ordering the device because I'm not depending on that. I'm gonna see Parris. I go and pre-order because I'm gonna buy the device. I'm not depending on.
You're right. But so why do you think I'm buying it for you? You could buy your own. I got 3 kids. I'm broke. You got no money.
Nah, you could buy me one.
Okay.
You can buy me one.
No, but being serious, no, I'm not a fan of. Yeah, I do think Nintendo nickels and dimes. I really do. I do. And like I said before, we joke about it, but no, they seriously do. You should not have to pay for voice chat. Why? No, I won't defend that. I also think part of, like, I guess you can get the Zelda, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom upgrades for free if you're an online member. If not, you got to pay. I don't like that either. Not a fan of that.
Parris. It's like I've been paying $20 because I play the old games, and I get like all the Mario Kart 8 DLC, all that was for free, and there was other games like that too. Like I pay it because I use it. It's like you pay for Game Pass because you use it. So like I was paying also for the PlayStation PSN Plus, right? I was paying it, but I wasn't using it, so I'm like, let me stop, because there's a lot, so it's part of the service of the stuff that I'm still paying. So I'm not paying extra. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm not paying extra to get that voice chat. It's included with the stuff that I'm paying. What is the difference? I don't get it. Why are you complaining? If you're not going to use it, it's fine.
I love how you're not hearing what I'm saying. I love how you got your freaking sword and shield and you're going to freaking defend the realm. It's not what I'm saying. I am saying that as a customer, what if I don't pay for Nintendo Online right now. I don't have it. I understand that if you actively use it, like the GameCube stuff is coming and all that, great.
Yeah.
It's a perk. It's a nice perk to have as a part of it. What I'm saying is for people like me, that no, I don't pay for online. So now if I want the Switch 2 versions of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild and I want to talk to people, I got to give y'all more money? F all that. No, I'm not going to happily defend that and go, yeah, that's okay. No, I think it's nickel and diming. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
When there are other out there that give me the same thing for free.
That's fine. Like how Phil next month says, we're giving you the option. You choose. You choose what you want to play.
Yeah. So
how you want to play.
So you know what my choice is going to be? I ain't talking to nobody on the Switch because I ain't paying. And I'm gonna be playing that Switch 1 versions of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. They're gonna look good enough to me. That's what I'm saying.
This was gonna happen. Parris is gonna be like this. Oh my God. You're gonna be like, oh my God, I want to play this online, but I can't. You know what? I can pay $20. That's what's gonna happen.
Hey, mess with me. This is the old Switch OLED. Good enough.
Hey, Switch OLED is really good. I really enjoy that device. It's a good device. It's a really good device. Oh, by the way, guys, we're going to be playing on the audio version the South of Midnight review. It's me, Paris, and also Riana. We all, us three, we talked about the game. It's like a good, almost 30 minutes or so conversation about the game. Great conversation overall. I would love to hear your thoughts. I know the YouTube version is out, but here's the thing. It was complicated. That day was the same embargo of Nintendo Switch 2. Like, I don't want to like release something and like, let me separate it. And I think this is like the right time to release it, so just wanted to say that. It was a lot the same day. A lot of content, but so we're going to play right now and we'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
We have Riana Manuel-Peña. What's up, Riana?
Hello. I am very excited to be on an episode with Paris today.
Ooh, this is going to be interesting. And also, of course, the man himself, Parris Lilly. What's up, Paris?
I also am excited to be on a podcast with Riana. This should be a lot of fun.
Damn, why nobody gives me a shout out?
I've been dealing with you for 20 years.
I see you every day.
Yeah, there you go.
It's all good. It's all good. So this episode, we're going to be talking about our review of South of Midnight. I know we all been playing it. We all completed the game, right?
Yes.
Paris has, and I have. Okay. So we're going to talk.
I watched the whole credits, by the way.
I did too.
And didn't skip or fast forward.
I took some screenshots as well.
Yeah.
Oh, of the credits?
Yeah.
Oh,
a lot of people we know
worked on
make this game. So
yeah. Shout to them. Shout to them. All right, so we're gonna talk about the good, the bad, maybe, I don't know, like everything, just everything. Mm-hmm. So I would like to start by saying this. I wanted to start by saying this. It took me 11 hours or so to complete the game. 11 hours or so. I really enjoy the game. I feel like the gameplay is like a hit or miss for me. But the thing that I feel like I'll shine more than the gameplay is the story, the voice acting, the music is phenomenal, by the way. Soundtrack is top notch. The composer that worked on this soundtrack, he also worked on multiple soundtracks in the past. And one of them, which I have it around here as a vinyl, Streets of Rage 4. I had him on the show, Oliver, shout out to him. I had him a couple years ago, I think 2020 on Gamer Target. Make sure to check it out. But anyways, phenomenal soundtrack. I like the game. I like the game overall. I just felt like the gameplay is like a hit or miss for me. I felt like the demo that we played, the preview that we got to play before, is basically like that the whole game, where it's like, attacking the enemies, doing your thing right, and then the running, and then there's gonna be part of the game where the dark forces, I think that fog, what's the name of it? Do you remember?
Rue.
Yeah, will go after you the whole time, and this is like in almost every level. And I'm like, I get the point, but I think everything else outshined that it didn't really bother me as much. You get what I'm saying? So I don't know if you guys felt the same thing, and I would love to hear what Riana has to say. I know Power just finished it last night, so let's go with Ree first.
I'll let Paris go first because I have a lot to say,
all right.
and I don't want to completely steamroll the whole conversation.
Cool. Go,
Oh,
Paris.
I'm about to steamroll the whole conversation. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So let's talk the good. Music and the sound is phenomenal in this game. Like, I mean, incredible. Some of the theme songs that the bosses get in this, like, and I don't want to even spoil anything. There's one that I was just humming the whole time, right? It's that good. The jazz inspirations that are in it, so freaking good. Really, really good. Inspired voice casting in this. I mean, everybody just did a phenomenal job. Obviously, main character Hazel, she was fantastic the entire way through this. Ahmad Best was the voice director for all of this, and he obviously played a role in the game as well. Phenomenal. Just everybody deserves kudos in this. The art in this game, it's incredible. It is. This is such a love letter to the deep American South and just the fables and the lore of all that. And I love the character designs and the boss creations and everything that they did, even just from an environmental standpoint of the level designs. Just it reminded me of the South. Being from the South, this was the South to me. So I felt right at home with a lot of the stuff that they were able to present in this game. Now the bad. You already hit on it, Danny. It's the gameplay. And that is the unfortunate part of this. There is some a minor, there's a little bit of a skill tree here where you can kind of upgrade some of the thing because Hazel uses the strands, and I forget the name of the two weapon things, but she basically has like a push-pull attack that she's able to do, and you can upgrade aspects of that, damage, healing, things like that. Like myself personally, I upgraded my entire general side of the tree, and then I upgraded 2 other sides on the other tree, and then this kind of gets into the bad for me from a gameplay standpoint. So everything is enclosed in an arena, right? You essentially enter the arena, you fight enemies, and as you progress, there'll be even more enemies, but you kind of quickly figure out the patterns with those. So honestly, there wasn't really that big of a challenge with the gameplay, and was very repetitive in that way. You already mentioned the part when every level you go in, you basically have 4 arenas that you battle in. It then takes you into basically almost like a story mode, so you learn more about the character that's a part of that region and unfold their whole story. And then you have the chase sequence, and then sometimes you have a boss, sometimes you don't. Rinse and repeat. That is the game. I mean, it's literally the entire game. There was no real diversity to that. The exploration really was pretty straightforward. You can kind of go off the beaten path to get the looms, which you can use to upgrade, your skill tree. But that's about it. Like essentially, I would come to a thing where, because you can do like the trail, so you know which way you're supposed to go. I would do that, and then I would see, okay, I could go this way or I could go that way. All right, I'm gonna go this way because clearly there's a loom over here, so I'm gonna go find the loom, and then I'll come back and go on the main path. And that was it. That was all the gameplay that was part of this. The boss battles, again, you figured out the pattern pretty quickly in it, So, and I'll bring up one other good part because I didn't really talk about the story. I thought the story itself was great. The journey of Hazel, was great. I love that. Honestly, it was kind of sad.
It was
some parts very sad in there as well. But overall, I like the game. I am happy that I got to experience it. I don't even know how long I played it. I basically played it over a 3-day period in chunks. So I'm probably around you, Danny, 11, 12 hours or something like that. Quick AA experience to come in. Obviously, it's priced as a AA game as well. It was worth my time, absolutely playing this, but it was a one and done. I don't see me going back to this. I don't feel like there's any replayability to this. Because again, the gameplay was very just straightforward, and there was no variety to it at all. And that would probably be my most disappointing part of it. But like I said, the visuals, the art, the music, the sound, the story, all of that was top notch. I mean, high level, all of that. And it almost, to your point, supersedes the fact of the gameplay. But that is going to be a factor for a lot of people, that this isn't something that you're playing, in my opinion, for a challenge. You're literally playing it almost like an interactive story, if that makes sense. So that's my opening. And Riana, I know you got a lot to say.
No, I'll just kind of piggyback off of your points. I think this is I would say an extension of a narrative-based game. Like this is a story that you're playing through. I would not approach South of Midnight as a gameplay-heavy title. It's just not focused on that. It's not where it shines the brightest. The gameplay is competent for me. I explored every corner I could find and attempted to 100% the skill tree. So I'll say every single time I press the little guide in the whisper in the ear, Hazel, and then like you see the little guide on the screen telling you which way to go, I would always go the other way because I was trying to find every loom, every secret, every additional piece of narrative. And I think I did pretty well. I got every upgrade on the skill tree except for one. So without a guide, obviously, as there's no guides published yet, I almost 100%ed the game, and I can confidently say, even on easy mode, because I did knock the difficulty down a bit so I could get done in time for this review, and even with everything filled out, the combat was still just there for me. It was something to do. It became very repetitive. The enemies did become more interesting and more varied in the way that they combine when they pop up, but the combat areas are very specific, so you're never caught off guard. You know exactly when you're going to fight, and anytime you're not in a combat area, there is no fighting. So there were no additional pressures on the combat for me. But I don't really play games for combat, so I'm okay with that. Now, going to what I think most people will find really exciting about this game, story. And when I say story, I mean the environment, I mean the music, which is so beautiful, so well done, so well integrated into the gameplay and the storytelling. And the overall narrative, I had a lot of problems with it. And I was not expecting that. So my family is from the South. My mom's from Florida. Most of my family's from Kentucky. So I have a lot of context for the language, the relationships, like the things that they do, the type of lives they live. My family has not always come from wealth. So I understand a lot of where Hazel seems to be based from. I don't know if I agree that life is that tragic all the time. And that's okay if it is for people. I don't want to celebrate the stories of the South that way. I think that's kind of how it hit me, where I can definitely appreciate grit. I can appreciate overcoming really difficult situations and terrible, terrible circumstances and misfortunes and generational trauma and all of the things that you experience through the storytelling of this game. It was so heavy-handed for me that it made it hard to be joyful. And I was bummed out by that. I think there are so many beautiful things in this story. I think there's so many beautiful things in the Deep South. And I know this is a slightly darker tale. Like they did say it was Gothic South. And I understand that. And I don't play a lot of horror games, as everybody knows. So I'm not used to steeping in misery. But I left so many of my play sessions down. And I hated that because I really love this game and I love what it's doing. But I didn't like the way it made me feel. So I'm very conflicted about it. And I honestly don't know who I would recommend it to. I think it would depend on their mood. I think it would honestly I would have to seriously consider where they are in their life. As a new mom, there are a lot of child traumas in this story. So I will say that was a bit triggering for me. As somebody who has lost family, like most of us have, that was pretty triggering to me. And I will say child abuse isn't this heavily featured in this game, which is difficult for me to get through. So there were just a lot of heavy things in the story that made me less excited to keep playing, which was so disappointing of a feeling because I love everything that they did. I just had a lot of trouble with the content.
You know, I'm actually very happy that you said that because I wasn't thinking in that perspective, but I think you're very spot on with what you're talking about. And I'm going to phrase it this way. Being a game that is one of our first, if not only, representations of the deep American South with a young Black protagonist.
Who is fantastic.
Yes.
Absolutely love Hazel.
Fantastic. But everything's a tragedy. Everything. It's very traumatic. The story of this game, the revelations of why you find out that certain things happen the way that they did, why a certain creature became the way that it was always traumatic. And let's try having an adult conversation about this.
It's very nuanced.
In this sense, I appreciate what Compulsion has done with this story because I could relate to a lot of it, unfortunately. And you and both of you, this is a question to both of you. I feel like there's a couple chapters missing. That was my one thing when I got towards the end. I felt like there was parts of the story that got quote unquote cut for time, because I feel like we jumped from one thing and then all of a sudden, well, damn, we're at the end. Well, what about the other thing over this thing?
Yeah.
You kind of just neatly wrap that up like super quick. So while, and again, I'm not spoiling anything. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of tragedy in this, but there is beacons of light along the way.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to spoil the ending, but to your point, this could be triggering for some people because of how it represents something from their own life. Because like I said, I know a couple of these examples, even though they didn't happen to me directly. I got some family stories. Okay. So I get it. And I get it's a representation of that. But to your point, I don't think we got enough of the other side at the same time in this story. So you like I said, you make a fantastic point on that. Like overall, I really enjoyed what we were shown. I could relate to it and all that. But yeah, it was very Debbie Downer-ish for the vast majority.
And I appreciate that, Rita. You mentioned that because I when I play this, it was more of like, oh man, this is cool that people are gonna get to see the culture of the South, like because we don't see that in games at all, Yeah. So like I appreciate like even the voice acting in this, the music, everything. But at the same time, I get where you're coming from. It's like from the Latino side, when we watch a movie, especially like in the early days in film, it was always the same thing. Either a drug dealer, it's always like something negative, image about our culture. And that's the vibe that I'm getting after hearing this from you. Because I was never thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that you mentioned that.
And I understand. I'm soft. Like I am not the kind of person who watches like super dark, gritty stuff. I don't play those types of games. So I am definitely, I would say, probably a little more sensitive than the average person who's playing this game. And most people probably won't have the same issues that I had with it. But I just have to be honest to my experience. There were a few tonal shifts where like 1 minute there's a joke being cracked and the other one Hazel's like sobbing uncontrollably that were kind of odd. But other than that, the narrative did feel cohesive. So I feel like it did what it was trying to do. However, as you said, Parris, those beacons of light were there, but they were just not enough to balance it for me. And I don't do Black trauma very well, period. So I had a rough time with this.
Because, and this isn't a spoiler for people in the story, but a lot of themes of abandonment, abuse, straight up murder was in this. So, and to your point, let's just keep it real. We're talking like a lot of Black trauma, right? And I think we never got to see enough of the quote unquote happy times for Hazel. We're literally introduced to Hazel in a traumatic event. And that sets the tone for the entire story moving forward. Again, the music, the level design, the art, all that is beautiful. But like I said, you're telling me this and it like literally just clicked in my head as you're saying this. And this is why I'm kind of reacting to it this way that, well, damn, yeah, there was a lot of bad stuff happened in this game. And there wasn't a lot of redemption in the way. Like, I'm not going to spoil the ending, but even the end result
felt rushed.
I felt not even rushed, but I felt like there wasn't enough consequence, accountability to your actions.
Yeah, agreed.
You were almost in a weird way rewarded for your actions by the end. So again, I'm trying to steer clear of spoilers, so I'll leave it there. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just really quickly, Danny, I have just for context for people who are maybe having trouble understanding where I'm coming from, because I'm saying I loved this game and then at the same time it bummed me out. I did not like The Last of Us because of these reasons, and obviously not specifically for Black trauma, but I don't like misery and dread, and that's the point. Like, I don't do well in apocalyptic settings with my fiction, so it's just not my bag. And so I just wanted people to know, if they're going into this thinking, oh, this is a beautiful celebration of the South, it is, but it's pretty dark. And to just prepare yourself for that, and to know that if you're going to go 100% into story the way I did, because I was so excited about it and it is so beautifully crafted and executed, it is very, very dark.
Part of it, I'm trying so hard to not spoil things.
It's hard. It's really
It is hard. It's hard.
People have seen this in a lot of the previews and trailers and stuff. Part of what Hazel does is when she goes against these creatures in this world, she quote unquote unravels it and she brings out the beauty of the world back to life. We don't get to see the end result of that enough in the game. And I think that's part of it too, is she unravels and you're moving on to the next thing. I think even, I'm going to spoil things, so I'll be quiet, but
maybe we should do a spoiler cast on this.
Yeah, they're definitely.
We should.
You know what's interesting? For this being, for all intents and purposes, a 12-hour game, there's a lot to discuss.
So much.
What Hazel's journey entails and the people and the creatures that she encounters. And again, their traumas and their stories and how she's helping them and all that. And that's what I mean. I know we're focusing on that one part of it, but it's like there's a lot of good here in the game. Don't get me wrong at all. Again, I still think the weakest part of the game is the gameplay, which will be a big deal to a lot of people. Don't get me wrong. And, you can judge accordingly. But I give Compulsion kudos in this sense that even though we're talking about the traumatic events of the story and everything, I felt they treated that region of the world, I think fairly is the word I'm looking for. I think they did have some TLC. Let's put it that way.
It was done respectfully.
Yeah, there you go. They were respectful with it. I don't think they recklessly just, we're down in Louisiana in the swamp. I think, they like you said, they treated it respectfully in that way. I just wish they could have shown not everything about the South is dreary and dread.
Yeah,
there's good parts of the South, and we didn't get to see that. I will say there was a part towards the end, and this is where I say a lot of the jazz influence came into it. Oh yeah, I love that. That I wanted more of that, I guess. Yes. And this is why
that was pretty dope. That was pretty dope too.
I feel like there's a chapter or two missing as a result, because I think there was more to that we didn't get to see.
There are a couple of highlights. Sorry, Danny, I'm keep talking over you.
That's all good.
I don't want people to come away with this as I'm saying I didn't enjoy the game or it's not good or I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. There are some really beautiful moments, and the scenes, the ambient sound is absolutely like enthralling. Like you just hear like the bugs singing at night, and like it really does feel like you're in a swamp. Like it's really, really beautifully done. I really love the way that touches of the lyrics of the song that you hear throughout the boss fight kind of preview as you're learning more about them as you go throughout each level. Really, really cool trick that they did to pull that off. I do wish that you were able to turn closed captions on to see the lyrics of the songs on the screen, because I couldn't figure out how to do that.
I agree.
And I was missing words, and I was like, I want to know exactly what they're singing. But some songs are like some earworms in there for sure. There's some really beautiful, like not only jazz, but there's some country in there. There's some blues in there. There was a rock song. Like they have really great variety of music that has come from the South and that has originated from the American South. Like some of the environmental puzzles are cute and clever, but other ones like really surprised me. Like how they slip some stuff in there, and again, no spoilers. This is really hard. And me being directionally challenged without a map, the fact that I almost got enough to fill out the skill tree, I'm actually really happy about that, which means the game direction is really clear. So like, there's so many great things here. There's cute little idle animations that Hazel does when she's just standing still, like beating her legs because she's a runner, and that's what you do when you have too much buildup in your legs and you need to get the cramps out. Like there's so many great touches, and they took such care with this execution. Like I just needed more light. I needed a little more light. I think that's where I'm at.
And I do want to mention, you're right, Rhea, about closed captions for the soundtrack, because there's part. It's not only with the boss battles, Paris, but or enemies, but it was also maybe she's having a conversation with someone and they discover like a story, and then you hear a song that relates to that conversation or that part of the story. I was like, man, that is fascinating. Like I could definitely see that soundtrack getting awards because it was that good, that good for sure. Were you going to say something, Paris?
You know what was missing? I'm realizing all this as we're discussing. I'm glad we're having this conversation. part of it, I wish we had side quests in the game, where you had secondary characters that you're working with and you're helping beyond just the main characters. Everything was about that main character in that chapter. You do the 4 things, you get their story, and then you do the trench run, and then you do the boss battle. All right, on to the next thing. I wish there were other side characters in there, like, this isn't even really a spoiler, but like Jolene in that chapter.
Oh my God.
Maybe there could have been a side. Oh my God. Again, there was some really dope things in there. I wish they could have explored more, or you didn't have to do it. It could have been optional, but you were rewarded for actually interacting with this character and doing something else off to the side. Like I said, again, they're treating this like a AA game. I get it. Straightforward adventure. But I think there was potential to do more in this universe. And I'll say this, and I know you want to say something. And that's why I say, again, this feels like a one and done for me, because I feel like the way they wrapped it up, I don't feel the need to go back and get more of Hazel's story. I feel like I'm done. We already know where it's headed, and we're good.
Ree, you want to say something?
I actually feel the opposite. I want to see more. I want to see more of what they would do with this character, fully realize. Obviously, after the first mission, she has to lose all her powers so you earn them again, because video games. But I would love to see what Hazel does in the next stage of her life. I would love to see how she can heal other places, and if maybe the overall delivery of that is at the same stellar level of this game, how the tone could potentially pivot and maybe lighten a little bit. And not to say that we need to ignore difficult experiences or to sort of, I don't know, put brushstrokes over trauma. I don't want to suggest that at all, especially not for stories that are really important for people to tell, for them, because there's something cathartic and beautiful and really powerful in that too. Again, I just go back to the word balance. I personally need more balance in my storytelling, because the world is so difficult in real life. Stories are where you get to see the ideal or the aspirational. And aspirationally, I would like to have seen more of the, as you said, Parris, the impact of Hazel healing the world, right? Because it's beautiful when she does it. The effect is cool. Flowers and shit, but I want to know what that does to the people's lives around her. And also shout out to Jolene's character model, because she is so cool.
It is very cool.
I can't wait to see somebody cosplay as her.
Yeah. And you know what also I have to bring up, Rhea, and I thought about you right away, is also the hairstyle and the outfits that she wears throughout the game. I think it was well done, in my opinion. Do you feel the same?
Oh yeah, she looked great. She's absolutely gorgeous and so cool. All the braided styles are really, really well done. And obviously, there's a certain amount of artistic expression in this game. Like, the actual game opens with stop motion animation and claymation, and then obviously that's inspired in the art style. But I think they did a really great job with everybody's hair. Like, there are a lot of really cool hair textures, like big, huge curls. Like I said, on Jolene, like her mom's hair is a little bit tighter curls and like bigger volume, and they all look absolutely beautiful. It's really well done artistically.
Yeah, Parris, you got to check this out on the Series X or S? Because I know the majority of us plays on the PC, but just want to. So I was going to ask. So
that was my tweet that I put out the other day, where I was talking about Xbox Play Anywhere, because I literally played it across 4 devices. I played it on the Series X.
4 SKU, great.
There you go. I played it on the Series X. I played it on the S. I played it on my gaming PC, and I played it on my Rogue Ally as well. So I got to experience the full gambit. It is not Steam Deck verified. And they warn you that in the review, so I didn't even try that, but it played fine on the Rogue Ally, which is essentially the same, but Windows, it played fine. I had no issues playing it on there. Series S, it was fine. And obviously on the X and on my PC, it played just fine as well. And I love the play anywhere aspect of it, that all my progress just followed me wherever I went. Achievements popped, the whole thing. So all that was good. Yeah, no, from a technical standpoint, no issues at all when it came to that. I think And I think this was when I was on the Series X. Ironically enough, it was Jolene, which funny story.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the Jolene part when I went to Compulsion last year.
Oh,
And-
okay.
And Siri agrees. And the same hair bug I saw then, I saw it on the Series X as
There's
well.
a bug. Oh,
There's a bug?
Yeah.
What's the
I
bug?
had 2 crashes
With
but-
her hair. Like Jolene's hair went weird, you know.
Okay.
And that
There's
was
a
like
lot
the
of it.
only thing I saw. Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
2 crashes. I had 2 crashes during boss fights.
I had no issues on PC, actually.
I was on
And you know-
Series S when that happened.
Yeah, you know what? One thing I did notice, the animation is a lot smoother this time around than when we got to play as a preview a couple months back.
Makes sense. Polish,
Right?
final polish on it.
It's a lot better. I remember playing it, like I was enjoying it, right? But I felt like it was bothering my eyes a lot. You know, and this one, I was prepared for this, and I didn't get that at all in this version on the PC. So just want to mention that very quick. Anything else? Anything else?
I mean, I'll just say for my final thing, it is worth your time. And as we're already saying, it's like a 12-hour experience. So it's not like you got to invest 30, 40 hours into this story. It is worth playing, going through Hazel's journey, the music, the ambient sound, again, the artwork that everything that South of Midnight brings is something you want to experience 100%. But I will warn people again, the gameplay is pretty straightforward. What you do in chapter 1 is what you'll do in chapter 14. Pretty much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, it'll scale up a little bit, and I just played it on the standard difficulty. I never felt a weird challenge. I mean, if I died at all, it was just me being an idiot and not making a jump or something. Again, I guess we didn't talk about that so much. We talked about the combat portion, but even when you're in the world, a lot of platforming that you'll do. Some kind of, uncharted, climbing that you'll do as well. But I mean, like I said, it was pretty standard stuff. Nothing innovative in that way. And like I said, it's pretty straightforward. They're definitely not being very diverse with a lot of the combat or even the traversal through the world. Like I said, what you'll do in chapter 1 is what you'll do by the end of the game as well.
Yeah, agreed. Anything else, Reed, from your side?
Yeah, I would say most people would probably like it. And I'd say if you like games that are heavy on story and vibes, give it a shot, right? It's on Game Pass if you're subscribed. And as Parris said, it's not a lot of time. Danny, you were only at like 10, 11 hours. I think I was somewhere around that too. And I did, went for 100%. So it's not asking a lot from you, but it will give you a lot to think about, as we're clearly seeing in this conversation. And I think it's a story that should be experienced. And please play with headphones. It helps a lot.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. And also, if you have an ultra wide screen, hey, like me, hey, go for it. That's
Full
that's
immersion.
A plus. That's a plus. Now, I just want to say, thanks to Compulsion and also Xbox for giving us the opportunity to play this game. I know Parris went to the studio a couple months back, and then we also sat down with the team for the podcast. So it's been a great experience. I feel like people should give this game a try. And I'm okay with games that's 10 hours, 12 hours long too. Because, as a parent, we don't have a lot of time to, play games that's like over 40 hours. You get what I'm saying? It's like I did that with Assassin's Creed Shadows. That was a lot of hours, man. Actually, I was like away from her and baby for a while,
That was tough on the family. Yeah.
But with this one, it was like 2 days for me. It took me and I was already done, So I had a good time. There was some issues. I just wish there could have been more. For me,
And shout out to Compulsion for getting writers who know these characters really well and who can speak to these voices very accurately, and for even casting people who have never done work like this before because of their authenticity. It really helped. You really do feel like these are true. Well, obviously there's a lot of fantastical monsters, but they really feel like they're truly reminiscing and representing the South very well, and masterfully done. I think they pulled off a really beautiful, beautiful story.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, so we're back here, Gamer Tag Radio. Parris, we're gonna wrap it up almost right now, man. Anything else you want to bring up before we
I'll say this. So I was invited by Microsoft to go to their 50th anniversary celebration up in Redmond. So I do want to thank Microsoft for the invite. They provided travel accommodations, the whole thing, just to be transparent. Mm-hmm. I will say this. I had a great conversation with someone at Microsoft, not Xbox, by the way. I want to be clear on this. This person is not a part of the Xbox team. They're part of another team. Xbox is going to be just fine. And I'll leave it at that.
That could be anything. So I don't know what. Okay.
I know. And that's why I'm just leaving it at that, because I'm not breaking any embargoes or NDAs or doing any of that other than where they're headed with the future of gaming at Microsoft. Xbox is going to be fun. I'll leave it at that.
Right. Well, thank you for your service. Thank you for letting us know. Thank you for service, man. Now, I also want to give a shout out to Microsoft. They invited me to separate. It's not the same event, but they invited me to a 50th anniversary event months ago. Actually, I couldn't go because of the schedule. I wish I could have been there. That would have been cool, just to see people from Xbox and Microsoft, and just experience it. So it was cool to see Paris attending this event. With Bill and.
Yeah, I mean, I was sitting right, like, it was funny. I'm sitting right behind, like, off to the right, but right behind Bill Gates, Steve Ballmer, Phil Spencer, all three of them just sitting right together. Like, that was crazy, to see that. And the fact that you had all the three CEOs for Microsoft all together. And that was the first time they had said since 2014 when Satya became CEO. That was the last time the three of them had been together publicly, in that way. So that was cool to see, having that perspective, going through the whole history of Microsoft, since they had obviously started in 1975 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Do you know, they were choosing, God, now I'm forgetting the other place. Oh, crap. Now I'm forgetting the other place. But they knew they had to move from New Mexico, and it was either move to Seattle or crap. Now I'm forgetting, but it was interesting. Like how different things could have been. Oh, no. It was Silicon Valley. They were debating, do we move to Silicon Valley or do we move up to Seattle? And they obviously chose Seattle, and the rest is history. But yeah, it's just cool to see, like, this company's been around, for better or worse throughout the years, and how much they've evolved. And obviously they talked a lot about the stuff that they're doing with Copilot. One cool thing, because I got a bunch of demos with Copilot. So you could literally ask Copilot, hey, give me, like, I asked it to give me the history of Xbox, right? And it created like this 25-minute podcast, and it ran through the entire history of Xbox, the early days, reasoning, like to when Phil Spencer took over and to where they are in current day. And that was like, it did all that in like 2 minutes via Copilot. So look, I understand the hesitant parts of AI, the concerns with AI, because that was a lot of the conversations that I was having this week up in Seattle, is just some security concerns, some of the data sharing, just a lot of the things that obviously people replacing jobs, things like that. We talked about a lot of that stuff. But I do see the positives of AI as well if it's used responsibly. And that's kind of the big thing right now, that not only Microsoft, but the other companies that are leveraging AI is going to have to communicate to the public. Like, I actually talked about, like, because if you remember bringing this to gaming, when Phil Spencer, they talked about how AI is being implemented, how Xbox is going to use it, right? I talked about, I didn't like that presentation because it's such early days that people are going to judge, like, this is how you're going to use AI. They don't see what it potentially could be 10 years from now. You're seeing it now. So of course there's going to be pushback on that. Of course it's going to be viewed in a negative light. So again, we talk about communication. That was probably one of the big feedback things that I gave of, they got to communicate the stuff better. They got to honestly not show things too early when it comes to things like that, because it's not going to be received well. And AI right now is not the most popular thing in the world for various reasons. So I get the future potential of it. I understand it's not going to go away, but they, for Copilot and all that, I see the advantages of it, but I also see negatives with it at the same time. So they got to clean that up. They got to present it better. Again, we talk about Xbox One in 2013, where the messaging was all over the place. And even though they had a lot of great ideas at the time, the negatives outweighed the good back then, which is why they had to pivot and did what they needed to do. And clearly these companies are not going to pivot from AI at this point. But if you want public perception of it to be better, you got to communicate it better as well. And you got to reassure people of the security concerns with it at the same time.
No, I 100% agree. 100% agree. And also we'll mention this, like, and I know you mentioned it too, but AI to me, I see as a tool. So like, for example, you know, I use this Riverside to grab clips or edit, or even the sound quality, maybe fix it. And that's what they use here. Like you could use AI to fix the content, make the content a little bit better, like the quality and all that stuff. So for people that just don't have the skills to edit, or don't have the time to like edit or whatever, you know, I see that as a tool, a helpful tool to make your podcast better. You know, now the part I was going to ask you about the podcast you created, when you asked to tell you the history about Xbox, was only one person speaking, or there was two? Because I know on Google they have something like that, but it's two people having a conversation back and forth.
So this one was one person, but there were other examples. Like they did one where it was like a roundtable discussion between Satya, Steve Ballmer, and Bill Gates, and they're all having a conversation about stuff, and that was all AI generated in there. So that is obviously very possible to do. Okay,
cool. By the way, an update from the conversation we were saying about Switch Online tiers and everything. We have a viewer that sent us this. GameCube in the expansion pack, $50 a year.
Nickel and dime.
Hey, that's the GameCube edition.
And guess who's not going to be playing the GameCube edition? Me, because I ain't spending $50 a year.
I got the $40 a year tier, so that I'm good with that. I'm good with that, because I use it. So, but if you don't use it, you don't have to pay that. What were you gonna say? You were breathing to say something, and then I stopped you. What were you gonna say?
I got nothing to say.
He was gonna say something mean to me because I pay $40 a year.
I'm not. No, pay what you want. Do what you got to do. I will never tell anyone how to spend their money. I am only commenting on how I spend my money, and you can go from there.
Okay, all right, it's all good. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. Gamertag Radio episode. What episode is this? Oh my god, I don't even know what episode. 13. There you go. Everyone, thank you so much for listening or watching this episode live or recorded. Until next time, we're out. Take care.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.